Welcome to the Rex Andrews Show. If this is your first time listening, welcome. Glad you found us. I am excited to have you. If you are a return listener, thank you, because we recently discovered that in new podcasts, we've cracked the top 10% in growth for new podcasts. So this all because of you. So thank you as we continue to grow the show. Okay, a little bit of house cleaning as we get started today. Always got to do these things. We want you to subscribe. We are distributed on every platform you can think of, wherever you get your podcasts. So there's 23 of them out there. So wherever you're looking, we're there. And then, of course, you can always come to the website where the podcasts are listing there. You can see our guests, and you have some fun things that we can show you how to do things. So it's exciting. I am pumped. I mean, absolutely pumped about today's guest. I have with us, it's an amazing, interesting person. Her name is Dia Kline, and Dia is, wow, it's kind of this collage of talents. She is a comedian. She is a person that is an exceptional interviewer. She has all kinds of professional skills and resume writing and coaching and those types of things. So welcome, Dia. Glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much, Rex. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Fantastic. Now, I understand you're up in the Boulder area.
I am. I'm in Niwot, the left hand.
The left hand. You know, I base my podcast here in the Denver area. And from time to time, there's quite a few podcasters that are located here on the Front Range in Colorado. So it's great to have a peer that understands that 2 inches of snow is not going to threaten and destroy your world. So anyway.
No, life goes on.
Life goes
Studded
on.
snows, baby.
That's right. I feel for those people in Texas, but not really. So anyway, let's go ahead and we talked about this a little bit off air. You have a unique situation with one of your senses, and I'd like to start exploring that. So can you share with the audience what makes you unique?
Yes. Oh, what makes me unique indeed. So pre-2020,
okay,
I would describe and tell you my uniqueness, and you would go, huh? What is it called?
Okay.
Since 2020, since COVID, now there's more awareness of the thing that makes me peculiar. And that is called anosmic. I have anosmia, which means I can't smell.
Oh my goodness.
So these days, right, we hear about people who are getting anosmia from COVID. That's a diagnostic symptom that people are using to say, oh, yep, you have COVID if you've lost your sense of smell and in conjunction taste. That's what we call acquired anosmia. But I'm more special than that. I'm not any run-of-the-mill acquired.
So you had this before 2020 then, right?
I had this, what's called congenital, which means born with. So I was born with the inability to smell.
Oh my goodness. Smell is a huge factor in taste because a lot of it is taste. Okay. And then I can't even imagine going places without being able to take in aromas of food or, flowers or just, I can't even imagine that. So
and that perspective, Rex, that you're expressing, that feeling of loss,
right?
That's what really differentiates the congenitals from the acquireds, because you're looking at it from a state of less than and a state of loss.
Okay.
Congenitals don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. You're kind of an unconscious incompetent. You don't even know what you don't know. So what was it like growing up as a kid where you couldn't smell?
It was interesting. And I'll tell you my first memory of understanding that something was different about my perception of reality.
Okay.
I was 4 years old, which is young, but I was a precocious child. I have memories going way back further than 4. I'm 4 years old, and I walk into my house with my father and brother. And as soon as we open the front door, they both exclaim, "Oh, spaghetti for dinner."
Right.
And I'm looking at them how did you know that? You cannot see the kitchen from the
Right.
front door. How do you know? And my father instructed me to breathe in through your nose and smell, just breathe in. And I couldn't understand what they were talking about. Smell. I would breathe in and it was just warm air.
Right.
And thus began my journey of emphatically saying to everyone, doctors, teachers, parents, friends, know-it-alls, that I cannot smell. I will not grow into this. This is not something you can ask me to pay more attention to. And the
Wow.
thing they couldn't get past
Mm-hmm.
was the fact that I could taste. Because the old school of thought, the incorrect school of thought, is that taste and smell are connected and you can't have one without the other.
So you could actually taste then.
I have an exceptional sense of taste, so exceptional that I do congenital anosmic taste tests. I take real people like you who have smell and taste, and we'll blindfold you and we'll sit down and we'll do a one-on-one, because I have the ability to perceive taste beyond the 5 basic ideas of what taste is.
Right.
Sweet, sour, umami. I was going to say edamame. Umami, bitter, whatever those are. I can tell you that's spinach. I can tell you what kind of spice that is, right? That's my ability that I have grown into. And not all congenitals are the same. We all don't have the same reason why.
Okay.
And we all don't have the same abilities. I happen to be an exceptional taster. And the thing that you're experiencing when you taste is what's called flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And flavor is a smell plus a taste.
Okay, so I have a test for you.
Yeah.
One of my least favorite foods.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, can you identify what kale tastes like?
Oh, kale. Kale is a very green, and it's very green and bitter, right?
Bitter,
So
yeah.
it's not refreshing. It's definitely has a tart bitterness to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not pleasing, which is why you would put, say, brewer's yeast, salt, butter, whatever, olive oil on it to, it's really a vehicle for oil and
Uh-huh.
salt. That's
Well, to me, if it doesn't taste good, why eat it? So I've never been a kale fan. I mean, there's a lot of those things. It's like, well, it doesn't taste that good, so why am I eating this? But somebody has decided. That's interesting. Well, I
yeah.
find this really kind of rather ironic, because right out of college, I graduated in college in 1987, and the economy here in Denver was horrible. It was the first oil bust. And, some of the downtown towers were half empty. Well, anyway, you couldn't find a job here to save your life. So a friend of mine and I decided that we'd move down to Phoenix right out of school. And we made a plan to be strategic and make sure we had a job. So we went to bartending school.
Nice life
Okay.
skill.
Yeah, life skill. Oh my goodness, some of the stories from that. But anyway, one of the tricks that we learned at bartending school was when somebody ordered a glass of water with lemon, what you did is you took the lemon wedge and squeezed it. Then you take it and run the oil around the rim of the glass. Then you drop the lemon wedge into the water. It would be the best tasting lemon water you've ever had, and that's because they could smell the oil on the edge of the drink. So
They could also
I
taste
used
it.
that trick. Yeah, and you can also taste it when you're initial. So I would use that trick anywhere when serving people. Man, that's the best lemon water. What are you doing? I'm like, just laugh at them, because it was tricking them around the taste of the initial taste, and then also the smell of the oil.
Yeah.
So it's really unique, the fact that you can't smell, but you can actually taste.
Yeah. And usually the big bummer, the big moments of depression that come with the people who have acquired anosmia is the realization that they don't know how to taste without their sense of smell. They've never had to experience that.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's brain pathways. I don't know if it's not paying enough attention. I don't know if it's the actual loss of the sense of taste, which is a thing, but their whole life changes, right? Because
Oh, yeah.
they're like, why would I eat something that tastes like cardboard and I can't smell it? There's no enjoyment.
Wow.
And us congenitals, we have developed different nerve pathways. We have learned to, some of us, expand our sense of taste so we get full enjoyment. I go to 5-star dinners and I mean, there's certain things I can't pick out. Herbs are ridiculous.
Right.
I can't tell you that that's rosemary chicken. It's just delicious herby chicken.
Okay.
But nothing's lost on me. I am not a sad person who sits around and bemoans the fact that I can't smell. It's honestly irrelevant. My life is so full and it's not a less than situation.
Well, it's interesting, that sort of sense of loss that these people have because they could smell and now they can't. Yesterday, I did an interview with an amazing gentleman. His name is Kevin Lowe, and he lost his eyesight from a surgery at the age of 17.
Wow.
So he had 17 years of seeing, and then now he doesn't. And he talked about the enormous mental fight that was, and also physical, because now you can't see anything. You got to retrain your body and all that stuff. Well, he's like 35 now, so he lives a normal lifestyle and got all these cool gizmos for his computer and stuff. But we talked at length about, wow, just the mental, that this was taken away from me, you know?
Yeah.
And he basically said, he nailed a date. I don't remember it, but he's like, my life was taken away from me as I knew it the day after the day of this surgery, because he couldn't see as a result. So I would imagine that a lot of people who have developed loss of smell, that's probably a really difficult mental thing to deal with.
It is devastating. It's really hard to come to grips with, even for just the month that maybe you have it, or the 5 years that you have it, or the life that you now have, which is why this is so important. This is why I am absolutely so passionate about talking about anosmia. It's because I want to send the message out there that we exist,
Okay.
acquired and congenitals, and we're out there and we have communities to connect and share that experience with, because it's very isolating. It's very lonely to understand that your life is now changed and no one understands you. But you can meet groups of people and you can get support from people who are like, I know 100% exactly what you're talking about. That's my reality too. And then all of a sudden, nothing's changed, but the fact that you now can bond with people who get you, you found a new tribe of people who absolutely understand everything. It's life-changing and it so helps.
Well, I'm going to have to rib you because we've become such a woke culture. You mean now I've got another group of people to worry about not pissing off?
Oh, you won't piss us off. Are you kidding? All you have to, even if you tell us we smell, well, congenitals especially, because we don't really understand what that is. So if you'd said, Dia, eat a breath mint or put on more deodorant, I'm going to say thanks. Right? You're not going to offend me because you're helping me. An acquired is going to feel massive shame because they're going to be constantly worrying about, I know what stink smells like. I don't want to stink. I don't want to stink. If somebody told me I stunk, it'd be the worst day of my life.
Right. Not just kidding. We
just find congenitals. We're hard to offend.
So what percentage of the population has this situation?
Well, with COVID, right? So we've got the acquired anosmics bringing up the numbers quite a bit. I don't know if they're currently, if that's sitting at 5% now. Okay. But I don't know if that's taking into consideration permanent versus temporary acquired anosmia. But us congenitals, so it's kind of a rub. We're like 1% of the population. Okay. But we're so underreported. Doctors don't care. They don't give a shit. Oh, you can't smell. Try harder. Oh, you can't smell. Oh, you must have a cold. Oh, you can't smell. Must not be noticing it. So we're underreported a lot. So the answer is, I don't know, but 1% ish is kind of where it sits.
Well, there's a lot of 1%-ish type groups out there now that we're basically accommodating our lives for. So.
That's right. I mean, our lives as anosmics are basically normal, aside from the things that can kill us.
Uh-huh.
Like fire.
Yep.
Gas.
Yeah.
Food.
Now,
toxic stuff.
Thinking about some 11-year-old locker humor, there's probably certain things you're probably glad you don't smell.
Well, of course. I'm in love with pooping and farting. I think they're fantastic activities. They feel good. There's no negative consequence.
As for you, there's not, right?
Well, my family will ask me all the time, did you just fart? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. How do you know you didn't just fart? How can you not know? And I'm like, how do I not know I didn't just exhale? Like, it's just, I don't notice it because there's nothing to tell me other than just like, oh yeah, my stomach feels better.
Well, that's funny because, you never have to worry about walking into an airplane bathroom or a elevator or any bathroom anywhere with all that leftover smell.
Yeah, but I walk out of it not knowing what I walked into.
Right.
With maybe the smell clinging to me and then people wondering what the heck I did in there when I don't even know to be like, it wasn't me.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Well, that's kind of like the tree falling in the wood. Well, nobody hears it or sees it or smells it. Didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
That's crazy. So what's the biggest thing you deal with when you have insomnia? Is there any drawbacks to it?
Well, that was close. Anosmia.
Anosmia.
I do have insomnia sometimes.
All right.
The drawbacks really as a congenital, right? Because it's really understanding there's a difference in conversation between acquireds and congenitals. So as a congenital, it's almost irrelevant. Like aside from the things that can kill me.
Okay.
It's super irrelevant. It doesn't affect anything in my life. I am not hyper aware and concerned with smelling good. I'm of the belief that everyone stinks to a certain degree, and that's life and humanness. So I'm not going to be obsessed with trying to make you feel comfortable with some chemical smell I'm going to make sure I always have on me. But some people are, but that's just me. That's not my perspective in life. But I don't know when I'm going to almost burn my house down again, which I've done 4 times.
Yeah, so the smell of gas, if you have a gas leak in your house.
I cannot live in a gas house. I need a combustible gas alarm along with the smoke and along with the carbon monoxide. But even with all of that, the times I've almost burnt my house down, it takes a while to get a smoke detector to turn on, depending on the type of house or where your alarm is.
Right.
And thankfully, I have a cat, and my cat's been the hero in these stories where I'll walk away and the kitchen is filling with black smoke and flames, and she's meowing at me like, get back in here, crazy human, danger. And it would have taken a good 2, 3, 4, 5 more minutes for the smoke alarm to have detected that, which at that point would have become a kitchen inferno.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, it's going to alert me to get out, not to save the house. So my cat helped me save my house a few times there.
Well, you could always say I smell through my cat.
Put a little vest on her and take her into the stores.
That's right.
She's my smelling cat.
That's right. It's my emotional support cat that smells smoke. So
that's right. I would honestly really love to see the support dogs, those service dogs, being trained for people with anosmia, the smell loss of just alerting us to smoke, alerting us to gas, that sulfur smell, alerting us to toxic smells, maybe even food detection. I don't know. That'd be so sad for the dog. Smell this, don't eat it, smell it.
Well, I was sitting here thinking about this. There's so many opportunities where there could be injury. If you were, let's say that you were outside and pumping gas, well, the fumes from gasoline, if they're excessive, that could mean, hey, this is not safe.
Yeah.
Thinking from any type of chemical application, as a painter or someone who
I've
applies.
almost been sent to the hospital from spray paint inhalation.
Yeah. So
Like it was,
anybody applying any type of chemical based, product, because there's a lot of those are like, well, don't keep your windows open and keep airflow because the your aromas are so bad it can knock you out. So,
I'm not going to know. I'm not going to know.
So you're not going to probably be lining up to be an industrial painter or,
Yeah, well,
a chemist.
a career aspiration of mine was to be a conservator for art. Art history is my degree.
Okay.
And I really loved the idea of going into art conservation. But those people have a super high percentage of early death from cancer, from
Right.
all of the chemicals. They work inches away from these fumes with their faces in paintings, looking through magnifying glass. And I thought that would be a recipe for early death / disaster for me.
Right, because you could never figure out. Now, when you're in an environment, I'm assuming that what the answer might be, if you're in an environment where there's heavy chemicals or certain smells, and I'm assuming you still get headaches when
I'll start
those aromas
sick.
start coming in. Okay.
Yeah. Sick, nauseous, headache, dizzy.
Yeah.
All of the above. But when you don't make the correlation, cause and effect, you just feel effect. You're like, I don't know how to relieve myself of feeling bad. Like I just feel bad all of a sudden.
Well, that smell is a sense that is an alarm. It really is for many things. But then also on the flip side, you wouldn't know what it's like to walk into a house and smell Sunday roast, in the crock pot, or, an apple pie in the oven, or
but I know what it feels like to go in and eat that apple pie. Oh, that tastes so good.
That's funny. You just go straight to the oven and pull it out and eat
just
it.
Like,
yeah, you're not worried about the aroma.
My mouth.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the aroma. Well, that's very interesting. Like I said, it was great to interview Kevin yesterday, being a blind, and he has a very interesting career. He's a travel agent. He owns a travel agency. That's wonderful. So I was teasing him. I'm like, well, do you tell people I've been there and seen this? And he was laughing. And so, so I would have to tease you the same way. Now,
well, I am a paleo chef, so I am a chef. I am an
Okay.
anosmic chef. Yep.
Wow.
But I taste, so you got to remember.
I taste,
so I know what tastes good.
Yeah. Well, this has been Senses Week because I've never been around. What's the luck of the draw? So, shifting gears a little bit, I have to tease you with your spelling of your name. Do you get confused with the Denver airport?
I do, and man, I'm pissed because they don't send me a monthly check for using my name. But I use it as a way of introduction. I'm Dia, like the airport, and there's always a pause, and people tilt their head, squint their eyes, and they go, D-I-A, Dia. Oh,
Dia,
got it.
Well, how many people refer to DIA as Dia? That's probably no one.
Probably no one except me. When I go to the airport, I have my ID out, and I'm always like, I'm Dia. I am Dia. Yeah. This is I've even accosted the parking lot attendant at the airport. They have their lanyards and they have all their little buttons and badges and stuff. And I was leaving the parking lot, and I'm at the kiosk, and I give them my credit card, and I look on the lanyard, and I see a gold pin that says DIA. And I lean out of my car, and I'm like, your pin, where did you get your pin? The DIA one. Oh, they gave it to us because, DIA. And I'm like, look at my credit card. That's me. That's my name. Will you sell me your pin? And she was so touched. She was like, you can just have it. So now I have a DIA official DIA Dia pin.
That's almost criminal. So we're not going to go there. So you keep walking around with false ID. That's funny. I just had to ask. It was just one of those things. So now I understand that you do a little bit of comedy. So tell me about that and what's it been like during the pandemic and all the nut things that are going on.
It's been interesting. I am a recent person to stand-up comedy. I just started a couple years ago.
Okay.
So I got a good year in of stage and shows before the pandemic hit. And since then, I've actually done a lot of stand-up comedy on Zoom on virtual platforms. I've done comedy shows where we
Okay.
do showcases, where we do skits, we do stand up. And interestingly, I have found a new avenue for stand up comedy, which
Okay.
is opening business meetings.
Hmm.
Because people are super burned out and bored with Zoom meetings, and companies have decided, let's bring in some external things to spice and enliven it up. And they hire me to do just, like a 10-minute set opening up the Zoom meeting, which really puts the perspective of play and puts some fun and levity into the meeting. So now everyone isn't Zoom zombies.
Yeah.
We've had some fun. It's been really interesting. And as you know, as a stand-up comic, the really, really, really amazing part of stand-up comedy is the journey. It's the journey
Yeah.
for you in finding who you are, what your
Right.
voice is, what your message is, what you're taking the opportunity to use your platform to do. And that's been an exceptional journey, which has helped me embrace my anosmia even more, because that's the shtick that nobody knows about, but
Right.
is universally understood.
Yeah. So that would be a great shtick to do. I mean, you have a built-in, shtick that you can run anywhere, and
Yeah.
because there's so many angles on that, the things you can and can't smell. Well, the things you can't smell. So that's interesting. Now, tell me a little bit about how have you been booking your gigs with Zoom? Because I know how to go down to the local comedy club and get engaged there. But what's it like now to get gigs with comedy on all this online stuff?
It's interesting. It's super word of mouth,
Okay.
and it's also people viewing my YouTube videos. It's people finding my website. It's people finding me on social media, and in the course of talking with me, figuring out, oh, this is a thing. Now, I'm being a bad businesswoman and admitting that I am not pushing hard into the promotion of
Okay.
this skill set. I mean, it's really fun, but it's kind of low level, to put a lot of energy into making a $25 fee for doing a quick little Zoom comedy session isn't as much reward payment
Sure.
back as other things I could be putting my time into. So shame on me for not promoting it more. But honestly, it's just been referrals, which is, I think, the greatest way to get business.
Sure. Well, that makes sense. Interesting. I didn't know if there were websites of those type of stuff because, you and I connected on a marketplace for podcasters and guests and those types of stuff. And
It's better than calling it a dating service for
yeah,
podcasts.
I'm not going to mention the name because it sounds like one, but
It does.
yeah, but it's really a great way to connect with a lot of really quality, high professional people and all kinds of stuff. So I was just wondering if there was something similar in the comedy industry for
We need it.
connecting
Let's
people
do
together.
it.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Oh
So,
my God, that database needs to exist.
well, the thing, I don't think we're going to go away. I interviewed Mark Johnson, who is the voice of the Buffs. So he basically does all the play-by-play for the basketball and football games. And we talked about how this last year in the football games and even basketball now, well, they're not even in the stadium.
He's watching it via Zoom and
He's
doing the
watching
commentary.
he's watching it on TV and doing the commentary. And so what's interesting is that the TV and now the radio are synced because they're watching the same view that I'm watching. Because I get really ticked off with some of the broadcasters that they have. There's an ESPN lady that does football games. I just cringe when she's doing them because she's horrible. She doesn't know anything about football. I'm a football head, right? So she's just making these, flower statements. And so, but anyway, Mark went back and he was telling me that he says, a lot of this is probably going to stick because,
Yeah.
just like one of the things we've seen with Zoom and working from home, so many people are used to it now, industries that never did.
Well, and I'll tell you, as an actor,
Uh-huh.
one of the harder parts of being an actor is not booking an audition. It's going to the militudes of
Right.
auditions, miles, hours away to spend 2 minutes in front of them and walk away.
Yeah.
And so what this pandemic has done for that industry, which isn't going anywhere,
Right.
is we're doing our auditions online.
That's
We're
great.
recording them, we're sending them in, and if we get callbacks, we do them via Zoom, which is, I would rather spend my money and invest it in my mic, in my camera, in my
Sure.
light to
Yep.
further that career than spending it on gas
Yep.
and time.
Well, and think about it too, everybody is now accustomed to and comfortable with, these home-based, videos. Here we are in our home offices. You
Yep.
look at our background and there's the pictures of our, family and friends and art and stuff. And so, it was interesting during the height of the pandemic, every news channel was doing the same thing. Everybody was
Yeah.
broadcasting that way. So we all got used to clutter in the background and not exactly the highest quality mics and that kinds of stuff that would be there. So, I think there's a lot of change there, and it's been interesting. And so I think those are some impacts that are going to stay the same as we continue on. And nobody knows what normal is going to look like. I'm pretty sure, because we've trained a lot of people, that there's going to be some of those people who are riding around today with a mask on in a closed car that will continue to do that kind of behavior long after this is gone. So
Decades.
Decades.
I
so
agree.
it'll be interesting to do that. Now, we forgot to do this real quick. What is your website? I want to get people to come take a look at what you're up to.
Yeah. So there's lots of really great ways to find me. My website, this is a little bit of a lesson. So my website comes with education. My website is seolife.com, but it is spelled EZJO and then the word life. So the 4 letters EZJO, the word life.com.
Okay.
It's pronounced SEO because it's Hungarian, of course, and it's pronounced differently than it's spelled. And the reason it's called SEO is because that's a saying I grew up with, that my mother grew up with, that my grandparents grew up with. It's Hungarian, and you ask it, how you doing? You good? SEO? And if you're good, you answer yo. And if you're not good, you say nemyo. So it's a family call. It's a check-in. How are you? And so my website, SEO Life, is how I'm asking you. You good? How you doing? So that's the website. That's my blog. That's where the paleo recipes are. I do need to retool it and front load it with more anosmic content for these past 2 years.
Okay.
But the other really great places to find and enjoy my content is YouTube. Go to Dia Kline, my YouTube channel, and watch all of my really fun anosmic content and my comedy content and just all the other stuff I have on there. That's a really great way to enjoy and get to know this world that I live in.
Right.
And then, of course, Instagram.
Okay.
Facebook,
Now,
LinkedIn. I'm big on LinkedIn.
So the listeners don't do my confusion. Kline is spelled with a K, not a C, correct?
That is right. As in Kevin, not Calvin.
Okay. Well, with your SEO lifestyle, I'm going to just tell you, as an internet marketing person, did you just decide that nobody wanted to find your website? Because that's...
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It was one of those things that I did because I had a jewelry company. I was a jewelry designer for 17 years. And that was really easy. Lady Luck Jewelry, although people would misspell jewelry. And that was pretty straightforward. And I realized people have a hard time with that too, like straightforwardness. And I came to the realization that I'm like, seriously though, most people are not typing it in. They're clicking. Most people are clicking from a link.
Right.
So that was my rationalization for creating a crazy name. Then I'm like, well, what's Etsy? What's eBay? What's Uber? You have to be educated to learn the weirdness of the thing. And now you become my best client because you're explaining it to the next person.
All right. That's one way to look at it. That's one way to look at it. I might coach you that might be the best way to hide on the internet. I mean,
Well, I will say I have many other names linked to it. So if you type in Dia Kline, you're going to get there. All
right. I won't give you too much crap, but boy, that website being your anchor site, woo, yeah.
That's why I turned people to YouTube and Instagram. I'm gonna fix it, Rex. Get off my back.
I'm just sitting here thinking, go to GoDaddy. And you literally just start typing weird characters and you accept that as a URL. Yeah, there we go. Nobody's ever going to find it.
What's really funny is I couldn't get SEO, EZJO. already taken, and somebody wanted like 10 grand for it.
Oh my, that's crazy.
So I had to put the word life on it.
All right. SEO, how are you? All right. We might have to talk after this,
We'll talk. You can coach me.
Yeah. So you also do some professional services with resumes and interviewing. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I have taken my skill set as a writer and as a storyteller,
Okay.
and I discovered I have a talent not only for helping people with their public speaking skills, but I have a talent for getting people's resumes to be written in a way that makes them targeted and effective, not just
Nice.
a litany of things I've done. So I'm a
Okay.
professional resume writer.
Now, do you do those services off of your hard to spell website name?
No, get ready for this. This one's long, okay? I work for a professional resume writing service called Personal Touch Career Services, plural. Personal Touch Career Services. So it's long and simple, Rex, long and simple. Mine's short and complicated, and I take it a long and simple.
Wow, both of your organizations need help.
And it's not like my name's any easier.
I know.
Like I should just call myself hello. Oh, that's already taken.
Right. So what do you think for doing stand-up in person? Do you think that's going to come back anytime soon?
Yeah, I have plenty of colleagues that have been doing live stand-up, and it's been interesting, like parking lot stand-up.
Okay.
Where all the cars have their lights on them and they're on a little stage and they're wearing a parka. I've had people do drive-in comedy.
Okay.
I've had colleagues that are in actual clubs, right? And disinfecting the microphone, and the mask comes off, the mask goes back on, the audience's mask. I don't know. It will come back because we're dying for that human connection. I can't make you laugh like I can make you laugh in person. Like,
exactly.
I just can't connect with you this way via Zoom. It's just hard.
The karma is different completely.
It is.
And the energy, the whole shoot and match, and just too many distractions in the background and those types of things. So that's really interesting. So what now, are you podcasting, or, I know you're blogging. Have you jumped into the podcasting circles?
No, I'm coming at it from the guest POV.
Okay.
I'm the awesome guest on all the podcasts.
Well, you're easy to tease and make fun of, so that's not a bad angle.
I know. Who wouldn't want to book this?
That's right. Well, I really appreciate the time today. It's been really interesting, entertaining. I've never met somebody that couldn't smell, so really educating from that front. I mean, gosh, maybe the next person I can do is deaf. I'm not sure. I could go through all of the disabilities, but it's interesting just because most people don't think about it. They really don't.
No, they don't. It's the Cinderella of the senses, and I, as a congenital, am the Cinderella of the Cinderella.
That's really cool. So again, give us your website.
SEO Life, easy, JOLife.com, or just Google Dia Kline.
All right.
Any social media platform, any search engine, I am there.
Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to have you back in a few months just to kind of get an update. What's going on with the comedy online and in person and those types of things. And so we'll get you back on. It's been fun and enjoyable.
Oh,
so
it's been such a blast.
That's going to wrap it up for us today on this episode. Thank you for listening in to the Rex Allen Show. Again, you can find us anywhere from podcasting, which is kind of a dumb statement because if you're listening on podcasting, you already know that. But you can always find us on my website, rexandrewshow.com. So until next time, the next episode, which will be only a couple days or maybe even quicker than that, enjoy your day, be safe, and make it a great day.